The dry weather game of the weekend, 22-2, Storm v Broncos. It was a great little game for if you own sort of 3, 4, 5, 6 players, even if you could manage that. And it was led by Payne Haas and Wishart, 69 minutes for him, not even the full game, and was able to pick up that try. The 33 tackles was crazy. The try saver in there, towards the back end of that game as well, and did split the kicking basically with Munster in this one, so 243 and 246 a piece, but that didn't stop either of those two from absolutely crushing it in that one. And yeah, the big part about this whole game was the injuries and that ridiculous play for Xavier Coates not to even score the try, but also kind of being the cause for 2 hamstring injuries in one hit. Just with his bounce, his height is crazy. The lengths that he can get. You think that Ezra Man pass was well over the top, and there's not many guys that can get up there. And as you can see through the tries that he ends up scoring off kicks on a week-to-week basis there. 2 injuries to your 2 halves in one go, and then Selwyn Cobbo with a hammy, had an ankle problem, and then into a hammy injury later on in the game. Very, very tough one to see for Broncos fans, and yeah, their chances of sort of getting potentially into 4th, or getting a home final 5th or 6th in this year's NRL final series. So super tough one, but that meant big minutes for guys like Payne Haas, for Carrian as well, with Carrian going the full 80 and Payne Haas going the 68. And an incredible game for him. 46 tackles, no misses, 152 metres, 4 offloads, the 3 tackle breaks as well. So couldn't have asked for anything more from Payne. And yeah, just if you captained him, that was the big one there. I think 11% in the top 1,000 end up with the C on him. And I'm down a lot of ranks given he was my only player in this one. So yeah, when I look through and look at the week and the guys that I don't own that are of worry for me and for guys out there that have these players, it was this game with a little bit on Wishart. A lot of people didn't actually buy him because this week anyway, because Herbie was such a high priced player and you can get any of the guns. But last week was when people did buy Wishart. And that worked out perfectly. I was talking about his 36 last week, just being a really, really solid outing. And he did nothing, basically, in the game. It was super low. It was just all in base, very limited in kicking, just running and the tackles there. And he was able to show his chops and what he could do last year in this one. So well done to owners of him. Munster is really taking on an extra role. He's running the footy plenty, which, as you can see there, brought upon those dirty offloads and the 6 tackle breaks as well. We know he's going to miss tackles. We know he's going to have the odd error, the odd penalty, but not in this game for penalties. But yeah, lack of kick meters compared to last week. 8 or 9 points. He kind of 10 points even. He lost compared to last week, but he made that up with running the footy. And both him and Harry Grant are looking awesome running it. And also Eli Katoa, I thought he was awesome with ball in hand as well, and just had the 2 errors himself, no missed tackles. So a really good game for those guys. And the only reason I didn't jump on in the end was that I thought I could hopefully get someone, people I'm looking at buying, getting them playing every single game for the rest of the season. And I pretty well, you can almost guarantee it now, 85, 90%, I'd say at the moment, that the Storm players will get a rest in one of the last 2 weeks, whether it's round 26 or round 27, probably a 27, I think. And they should have locked up a top 2 spot. So 1 or 2 there. Unless Bulldogs are to go on a run, but I just don't see it happening. They're probably going to limp their way into the top 4. I avoided these Storm players just to get, we're probably going to run out of trades at some point, just to make sure we have a really strong round 27 game. That's my theory there, and I think they can score similar. But yeah, you saw here offloads and the like was the winner in this one. Eli Katoa with 58, as I said, ran the footy beautifully, and he's done really well the last few weeks without his counterpart, Jerome Hughes. And then Harry Grant, he's looking awesome at the moment. The line break, a couple of line break assists. He had one early where he got out of dummy half, ran 10 or 15, and then sent it out to Anderson on the wing. And then that try assist as well. So with them being a little bit more of a dominant side at the moment compared to most, he's going to have some games where if it's a close game, he'll have more tackles, and if it's not, he'll be in the 30s, which hopefully, because they have more ball, he can get involved in attack. And he ran over 100 meters in the first half, so that was very, very impressive. And then Carrigan, the last of the sort of well established, well owned type guys, and he was brought in by about 150 odd in the top 1,000. And thankfully for me, with the whole of these guys, like the one guy, Wishart very low owned, but there was no 70s or 80s really up to 100 of guys that are damaging, of players that I didn't own. So I can cop the high 50s. It doesn't really hurt my week too much. It just ensures that people I'm coming up against in head-to-heads and in overall, they will have a decent week. There's no 30s and 20s and stuff like we saw with Hughes and Katoa a few weeks ago. But Carrian is going to be a really solid player to round out the season, and he's averaging 55.5, and I expect him to hit that number pretty comfortably over the next few weeks, priced at 50. So it's a really good guy to get into and a very safe one. Coatsy with a double, Meany, I thought he played really well. He had 8 tackle breaks as well. Stefano, 51 for him, running the footy really nicely. 3 offloads, 6 tackle breaks. Did have more missed tackles in this one and a few less run meters, but still really good minutes and a good score at that price point. And then Trent Liero back to some of his normalcy. Really, really good in defense, I thought, one-on-one in a few of those ones. But I think Tony Staggs running hard on that left-hand side and managed to keep him in check. Pap had a really nice try and almost got over for a second or third there at times. Got very, very close. 5 tackle breaks for him. And running the footy plenty. Last few weeks he's got up over 200. So that's going to help with his general base and not having to score tries to get, the sort of 35 base. But got one in here with a couple of tackle breaks for a 49. Was solid for anyone still hanging on. And then Shibasaki, 32 for anyone still with him. And then Walshy, 28. So, managed to end up with a decent amount of kick base. And we should probably see that with Reynolds being out of the side and Mam as well. So that'll be good for him going forward. Will he goal kick? It will be the question. It's probably going to be a yes. So if you do own this 28, it's very frustrating, but going forward, you should see him take a more important role. And they had 3 injuries in this game and up against pretty well close to the best team in the comp with the Raiders. And so there'll be other weeks there where he gets back into the 50s. And this was less of an exciting one to jump into. And then he had Blory at 50 minutes. So I saw him go off. I don't know what actually happened with that one. Anyone knows if you got an injury or anything like that, let me know down below. What it looked like for him. Sometimes last year he'd go off at about the 50 or 60 and kind of not come back or come back right at the end. So 30-minute rest for him in this one. And then Reynolds he'll have to sell. Mam, not many people have, but Reynolds is at a good price that if you have the trades, he would be a nice one to move on. So pretty good game to have sort of 2, 3, 4 players. And if you did, what on to you guys? If you're sitting with one like myself, or even Haas as captain, you got out well, even if you just had him. But still plenty of games to play out. And it looks like it's probably only going to be a couple that are dry, and one of them will be that Raiders clash, it looks like. But outside of that, unsure on today. Like this Friday, this one today, 6 p.m, might be okay. Unsure on that one, but tomorrow doesn't look too crash hot. Even up in Brisbane and the Gold Coast doesn't look incredibly great on Saturday, both Saturday and Sunday, and the rest of them on Saturday and Sunday don't look awesome. So maybe today's ones will be okay, and then from there we're not too excited about it. So hopefully, if you have a couple of plays in this next few, I personally only have Cleary in that one now that Yo's gone. No Edwards, of course. And then no Knights. I really want KPP, but it's not going to happen. A few players in the Raiders and the Manly boys. So hopefully that's a bit of a fun outside back clash with Garrick and Turbo and these types of guys there. So good luck with all of the games for this weekend, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow morning for a Friday night review.